Welcome into the show. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and this is Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2. Now, tonight we're talking Cardinals baseball and golf. Later in the show, I'll visit with Nick Ragone from the Ascension Charity Classic. It was just over a week ago when David Toms won the tournament, and the crowds were record-setting for a first-time event. A huge success and win for St. Louis. But first, we know that it was a huge weekend at Busch Stadium. It was the reunion of the 2011 World Champion St. Louis Cardinals. Nearly 40 players were back from that amazing team, which included, you guessed it, hometown hero, David Freese.
Into right, well hit. Back at the wall. It's off the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes Berkman. Freese has tied it. 7-7. Unbelievable. Freese hits it in the air to center. We will see you tomorrow night. In the air to left, well hit. Back is Craig. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Game 6, a night that forever changed the life of David Freese and the fortunes of the St. Louis Cardinals in 2011. David will be my guest coming up. But a former player that knows a thing or two about magical postseason moments is my broadcast partner, Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds. Jimmy, as always, thanks for the time. Great to see you. How are things going for you?
Things are great. Working with you most every day and looking forward to Cardinal baseball.
Well, we just had the 2011 reunion, and a lot of that, as you can imagine, was built around David Freese and his memorable Game 6. You had a memorable home run and catch that propelled your club into the World Series in 2004. So as crazy as it sounds, does a moment like that change your life after it happens?
I think it does. Obviously, it's a moment that lasts forever. David, fortunately, ended up being the MVP, which is amazing. I was sitting in the stands watching it, and it was, it's something that just goes on and on and on forever, and he'll be known as that guy, and you can't get away from it. So, yeah, it definitely changes your life.
So what did it do for you when you had that moment in Game 6 and then again in Game 7?
Well, it just gives you a little bit of that, hey, there's that guy moment, or people come up and say, I was there when, or, I watched TV with my dad, or all these different things, all these scenarios that people do to watch Cardinal games. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a moment in time that just stays with you forever. And, it doesn't help that, or it doesn't hurt that they play it on the Jumbotron every night.
I was going to ask you about that. When you see it now, what goes through your mind?
It's more of a fan. I think it's a really cool thing to watch now. I don't really look at it as it's me. I just look at it a moment in Cardinal history, and what a great opportunity for our team to win a game. And you could see the excitement not only in the team but in the fans, and in the whole atmosphere was just out of control.
I want to ask you now about the 2021 Cardinals. So when you see Adam Wainwright or Albert Pujols now with the Dodgers, Yadier Molina doing what they're doing, you know them so well. You're great friends with them. You played with them. What's that like for you?
It's cool. It's fun to watch your friends play and be successful. I think it's really neat that they're still playing. A lot of these guys are 40 years old, and I was right there at 40 still playing, and I just think if you can keep playing, keep playing. I wish I wouldn't have gotten injured. I would have tried to play another year. I was really starting to like the difference of the competition at a different level and trying to outmaneuver people and outsmart people versus performing against people. And it was just a different strategy each and every night, and it was something I actually look forward to.
I'm curious, what would be your advice if Albert came to you and said, all right, Jimmy, should I continue to play? What would you tell him?
Well, I would just ask him how he feels, how his body feels, and how his, how your mental frustration is at certain times. That's really it. Like, I think that if I was at the end of my career and I was still feeling pretty good and they asked me to be a DH, I might try it for a year or so. So I think the door is open for him if he wants to play. It's just up to him now.
Well, everybody would then say, why not come back to St. Louis? Do you think that could happen?
I don't know. I think anything's possible. I don't know where his mind's at as far as baseball-wise. It's the one crazy thing about when you get away from the game, you stop talking baseball and start talking more friendships and family. So we don't talk a lot about baseball, and hopefully if he makes that decision, I'll be one of the first to know, because it'll be exciting if he comes back.
What do you think? 700 home runs, does that mean a lot to him, or is it more about his body and if he has a chance to win next year?
I think from my perspective, I don't think the numbers mean anything. I think his resume speaks for itself. I think it would be amazing. I think I would, if he got to an opportunity where someone said they would give him the at-bats to get to where he was going to get to 700, I think I would probably explore it. But if the body was too beat up, which I'm hoping, he's been a first baseman and been a DH a little bit, I think he can do it, then I think he should. But I think the DH thing would be pretty special. How
do you think Yadi is able to do what he's doing, what we're watching night in and night out?
He's a warrior, man. He really is. He, it's not just catching. It's foul tips off the legs, foul tips off the hands, the jam thumb, the jam wrist, the balls in the, getting off the mask. It's just nonstop. And to be able to go out there night in and night out, it's just truly remarkable.
I am curious about this. Do you think it would mean something for those three to go out with each other on the same team and in the same year?
That would be crazy. That would be some kind of special environment for everyone to watch. I think that that would be like a dream come true for Cardinals and Cardinal fans.
And finally, if any of those guys came to you and said, Jimmy, what do you think about my game? Make me a better player. What would you say to those three?
I would say, I don't think you can do any better. I think you're doing great, and please just keep doing what you're doing, because I can't help these guys. They're playing a lot longer than I am, and they've been doing a great job.
As always, thanks, Jimmy.
You got it.
Now, coming up, how did Game 6 and that memorable Cardinals run change the life of David Freese? A visit with the 2011 postseason MVP is next. Scoops with Danny Mac is brought to you by Schnucks, Lou Fuse, Royal Banks of Missouri, and Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Welcome back to the show. 2011, Game 6. We relived that this weekend at Busch Stadium and honored the 2011 World Champion Cardinals. The centerpiece of that historic run, St. Louis native David Freese. Crazy to think it's been 10 years since you all won the World Series and your famous Game 6. You reflect on it now. What stands out about Game 6, Game 7, the World Series, all of it? What stands out 10 years later?
I think that you're just forever a champion. I know that's cliche and it's cheesy, but it's true. Nobody ever forgets, regardless of how you get it done. And then you add our run into it. It's just special. I mean, you look at Pat Maroon, like he threw the first pitch out of last week, a few days ago to Ozzie, and, the crowd's going ballistic, and everybody, it's not even the same sport, but man, it's just a great city to be a champion in, and just real excited to get back there and hear the crowd.
What have you done with your World Series ring? Do you have any idea where it is?
Yeah, man, you know what? I should probably get that out, right? It's in a safety deposit box up in St. Louis. My parents know exactly where it's at, but I haven't seen it in a minute. I think it's time to get it out. I'm
curious about how life changed for your mom. You mentioned her dad, David Freese. Not only to play in your hometown team, but then you become one of the greatest heroes in Cardinals history, which I love saying to you. So how did life change for you and your family?
Yeah, I think it was all just really fast. Not only to get traded back to St. Louis, but then a couple years later, you go on that run and grab the ring. I think we're all just learning as we went along. But so much fun. Every October, late October, the date comes up and, the whole country gets to see the highlights of us winning the World Series, and you get to relive it and enjoy it. And, it's obviously easier to handle when you're done playing. there are a lot of things I wish I did differently while I was playing. And, but, 10 years later, family, friends, we also kind of talk about that day when it pops up, and we all look at it a little differently, in a good, better way. But just a blast going through it all with everybody in your hometown, man. It's just stupid thinking about doing that in your hometown. That'll never get old, thinking about that.
No doubt. I'm sure you've seen Game 6 probably a million times, which started off a little rough.
Yeah, pretty rough.
A little rough for you, and then you became the hero with the triple and then the home run. When you see the replay, is there something new every time when you watch it, or is it like, yeah, that's what I did, ho hum, or do you pick up little things?
Any kind of highlight, whether I'm involved in it or somebody else, another sport, I think if you just keep seeing these highlights, you see different stuff. But what's the best thing that has come out of that stuff are those videos on YouTube of everyone's sitting around the TV, and they're recording the game from behind them. I'm getting chills right now, but those are the coolest things to see for me. Just all those YouTube videos of, not to say I go back and watch them and fluff myself every month, but to go back and see them all, just going ecstatic, for what we did, and just life for Cardinals fans, life for St. Louis fans, and just the best part about it is how you can give people that kind of excitement and that love for your sport.
I'm not sure what it's like when you walk the streets of Texas. I'm not sure I want to be in your shoes.
I get some middle fingers if they know me.
That's what I was thinking. So what do they say to you? What they go, hey, that's David Freese. I got to tell you something, buddy. Do you get some of that down there in Texas?
I get when I bounce around on these public muni courses playing golf, I'll run into people that if I go with a buddy or two, you get grouped up with people you don't know, and everyone starts talking or whatever, and sometimes it pops up, and they'll call their buddies and put them on speakerphone, and they're just going ballistic at me. It's all in good fun, but man, it's great. Tough state to live in, but I love it down here. It's cool.
How about following baseball now? I see you on Twitter. You have great advice on Twitter about hitting. So I'll ask you first about following the Cardinals. Do you follow the guys much here?
Yeah, I do. I don't catch the games live a lot, but I'm always running through the highlights, seeing what everybody's doing, checking box scores, checking friends, talking to buddies that I played with, and this and that. But yeah, it's fun.
Is it amazing for you to still see Yadi and Waino doing what they're doing?
It's not amazing, but it's oh my goodness. I expect that out of them. They love the game so much. Waino's, 06, he's dropping hooks in, and Yadi's been catching since middle of 04. What Yadi's doing is just stupid. That takes a lot of guts and a lot of heart. And when you're the backstop doing that, everybody sees it, and it pushes them, I'm sure.
Have you thought about not only coaching your kids in the game of baseball, but do you have an itch because of what you went through on and off the field, the good, the bad, the ups and downs? So do you say, I have a lot to offer and I need to get in uniform, and maybe this is something that I want to do? I'm thinking about coaching.
Yeah, it definitely runs through my mind a lot, especially when I'm watching ball. I throw stuff out there on Twitter about hitting, and people respond and this and that, and think I'm talking to the Cardinals or I'm talking to professional ball players. But I get a kick out of high school kids seeing that stuff, and little league coaches and those types of guys responded. I just throw it. It's not really advice that I throw out there. It's just more of stuff to make you think. And I think that's what a good coach does for you, because you're on an island when you're out there on the field, and it's just up to you. And I think as a coach, you just got to do a good job of opening up the minds of your players and get them to really get the wheels turning and understand what they're all about, and pick and choose what they want to be successful. Because if you're waiting on your coach to be a good player, man, you got it all wrong. Coaching is something that would be fun. The time it takes is an issue, potentially, but if the door opens somewhere and you can kind of hang out, and I would love to go to camp. I think going to camp would be sweet. You see Bob and Lou and all those guys going down there, Ozzy. That's what being a Cardinal was all about, man. Going down there and understanding the history of it and just enjoying the time with all the legends down there. And maybe I can sneak in there down in camp and hang out with the guys. That would be a blast. It'd be a good start.
That's David Freese. Up next, Nick Ragone relives a memorable week of golf at the Ascension Charity Classic. That's next on Fox 2. Scoops with Danny Mac is brought to you by Blue Tail Medical Group, Royal Banks of Missouri, Hair Saloon for Men, and Triad Bank. Welcome back to the show. It was just over a week ago that the Ascension Charity Classic came through St. Louis to record crowds, a great finish, and a showcase of the Gateway City. And let's bring in Nick Ragone, who spearheaded the effort to make this tournament a reality here in St. Louis. Well, first of all, Nick, congratulations as you reflect on the event that was just a week ago Sunday, today. What comes to mind when you think of the Ascension Charity Classic of 2021?
It's been a 2-year journey, Danny. You were there at the beginning, October 8th, 2019. We held a press conference at Norwood, and there was a few people that believed in that vision in my head. You were one of them, but it wasn't a lot. And to think that last week, 2 years of hard labor, love, passion, played out not just good or well, but in a magical way. I mean, everything that we ever thought this tournament could be, it happened. And I'm still giddy. It's been a week, and I cannot believe at how special it truly was.
What was the response from the players and the golf world as you all were center stage with that event? What was the response?
Response was overwhelming. I talked to a bunch of players on Sunday as they were leaving the scoring trailer to invite them back, thank them, and to a person, and I mean big names. People like Ernie Els said, Nick, great job. We're all back next year. They love the course. They love the setup. They love the feel. I mean, David Tom's our champion. Right after he won, he was choking up, and he said, Nick, this felt like a PGA Tour event. Paul Goido said that. Ernie Els said that. So many of the players said, this felt like a tour event. This was so much bigger and better. The hospitality, all the things that go with putting on our event. The team, the team, Danny, Steve Spratt, Tim Heitman, Dan Sullivan. I mean, they put together the most extraordinary first-year event, and it was proved out in the attendance to have 50,000 people, to set a record, most ever by an inaugural event, the most in 3 or 4 years on the Champions Tour, to feel like a PGA Tour event. I'd been saying for about a year to everybody that would listen, this is going to look and feel like a PGA Tour event, and the players said that that's what the case was.
In terms of the fans' response, they came out. Did it surpass what you thought it might be?
Yeah, I mean, we the Champions Tour originally when we signed up said, typical week is 15,000 people, 5,000 each day. And as we got closer to it, Steve Spratt and I and Tim Heitman, we looked at it. We said, the marketing, the marketing, it's gone really well. The PR, the momentum, St. Louis is great. We thought we could do 25 or 30,000, which would make us the most attended event this year in this long season. And then the week of, we started seeing numbers, people buying tickets the week of. And I'll tell you what turned it for me. The Pro-Am Thursday, Pro-Am now, we did 5,000 people. That's unheard of. It's unprecedented. Paul Goido said he's never seen a tour event do that. The commissioner said that's a Good Friday or Saturday. And we knew at that point, wow, we had something special. And then to tip over 50,000, you know me, Danny, I had high expectations. I believed in this event. Even I didn't think we'd get that close, and I'm still amazed by it.
So now going forward, what do you need to do, if anything, differently for next year's event?
Well, we want to make it bigger and better. It's all about charity, Danny. I mean, the big winner this week, David Toms is an amazing champion, and we are so thankful. He couldn't be more gracious and humble, and he's going to represent us well. And I told David on the 18th green, you're our first winner, but our real winners are the Boys and Girls Club, Mary Grove, and Urban League, because we are going to give back so much. We're just going to make this bigger and better. We have such a great foundation to build on. This is going to be, Danny, an elite event. It already is now. It's going to become the elite event on Champions Tour. So
my final question, Nick, because of what took place last weekend, do you expect that the word will get out with even more names coming, even bigger names maybe, and playing in next year's Ascension Charity Classic? So we could even have a bigger and better turnout for next year?
Well, I will tell you, and I don't want to name the names, several of the big name stars said to me on the way out, because I said, what do you think about the field next year? And they said, we'll all be back. And I can guarantee you the couple guys, and they didn't name names, but you can imagine who they are. He said, they'll be here. Trust me, Nick, they'll be here. And we got Justin Leonard coming out, Padraig Harrington coming out at 50, David Duvall. We got some other big names coming out. But to a man, and these were big name players that made a point of coming to me to the side and say, Nick, this field is going to be an elite field for years to come. And we're just so excited. At the end of the day, Danny, the vision of this was to do it in North County, do it at Norwood, to bring diversity and inclusion to golf and to give back to charities. And we've done all of it.
Congratulations, Nick. It was awesome, and way to go.
Thank you, Danny, for all your support.
It's been my pleasure. I'm honored to be involved in such a great event that is doing so much for charity in St. Louis. For Nick Ragone, David Freese, and Jim Edmonds, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and we'll see you next weekend right here on Fox 2.